Welcome back to the video. My name is Yvonne. I'm a third year of medical school, and today we're talking about the lessons I've learned in the hospital just this year. And it's only been a week, like a week and a half in January. So a lot of things have came to me. My goal here is to take medicine or any situation I have in life and I distill that into the deeper things in life, right? Understand the cause behind every effect. So let's just get started. So 2024 was the year where I told myself that I'm just gonna be like a watcher. What does that mean? I'm gonna observe the world. So sometimes we go into life and we have this script playing out in our minds, right? Like, okay, I woke up this morning, I ate breakfast, I have to be at this time I have to be at this place at this time. My girl is stressing me about this. My parents are stressing me about this. I have this deadline. I need to pick this thing up. I'm late for this. And we're just like in our own head, right? We're going through life and we're interacting with a billion people, right? But we're just all in our own head. And there's like, especially in New York, right? I'm in New York, so there's like a million people that are in their own head. So everyone is just like tunnel vision. And while that is kind of like the culture of the East Coast, the bad thing about that is that you kind of miss opportunities, you block opportunities, right? And I felt like I've lived that way for a while, right? I was always in my head, I'm thinking about what's going on in my own life, things I gotta fix, the problems I'm dealing with, and things like that, and what's coming next, that I'm never present, right? So this year, when the clock hit 12 and 2024 started, I was like, man, boom, stop. It's time to be present. It's time to, like, instead of just being so focused, like, imagine reading the paper, instead of being here, kind of look up into the world and like see what's going on. Take in your surroundings, be present, and then embrace the power of now. So that's kind of been my ethos in the hospital, and doing that just for a week and a half, I've learned too many things. Okay, so the first thing happened yesterday. I was working with this doctor, and I'll say her name was Dr. X. And man, Dr. X, she was a doctor with nurse energy. So if you've ever been to a hospital, if you've ever been sick, hopefully not, or if you do work in a hospital, you know that doctors have a certain presence, right? Because they kind of order everyone, they kind of tell everyone else what to do, and they kind of create the plans for people in the hospital. And the nurses kind of run a day-to-day. So nurses are more nurturing, right? They're there with the patients longer, so they play like that more family member role. But I work with this doctor who had like the mother energy. It was crazy. She had like that nurse energy. Like, she was creating the plans for everybody, but she was following up with everybody. She had like a different type of leadership, which I never experienced. Like, whenever you think about leadership, you think of like the big macho Navy SEAL or the person that's pumping their chest. You don't think of someone that's like leading silently, someone that everyone in the group respects. And man, she had that energy. And that's something I never forget, because that's something I've never seen. I've always seen like people lead through the ego, lead through accomplishments. But if you met her, you wouldn't have even thought she was the head of the team. So that's something I'm taking in for medicine, business, life, just everything. Leading with that, team player, that humble spirit. That's something everyone picks up on. You walk in, it's like, you walk into a room, a pretty woman walks into a room, or someone with like that humble, patient spirit. Like, everyone looks. You look, your friend looks, the girls look, the dogs look, even the kids look, right? We all notice that. So the same way we admire beauty, we also admire beauty in like in essence and spirit, and like patience and kindness and things like that. So man, if you're at home and you're kind of struggling with life in terms of understanding like what is your leadership type, you want to be assertive and you want to be domineering, understand that there's a different way, right? You can have those traits and also lead in a way that people really respect you, and you see the humanity in them. So that was the first thing that happened yesterday, and I was like, wow. Because I wasn't so fixated on what I had to do next, I was able to observe that and see the beauty in that. The next thing is likability. Man, the hospital life, school, club, bars, fishery, anywhere you go, right? The world is just made up of people in rooms, right? And if you want to get ahead in life, or you want an easier time on earth, because being on earth is already hard enough. There's 1,000 things. There's plagues, there's storms, there's stress, there's bills, there's IRS, there's wars, there's everything going on. So if you want an easier time on earth, on a planet full of people, you have to learn how to be likable. And man, if I had 10 kids, right, in the future, I would teach all 10 the first two skills. One is how to make money, how to generate value in the world, and how to exchange that for money. The two is how to be likable. And what does it mean to be likable? Being likable is being someone that people really look forward to seeing. Like, close your eyes and think of the last person that, if you had to do a job, right? If you had to fly across the earth and do one of the hardest jobs, who would you want on your team? And those people that you pick in your mind are on that list for a reason. Maybe they're competent or capable, but I'm sure they're also pleasant to work with. So likability includes like remembering people's names. Like, if someone tells your name, let's say a girl says, my name is Ashley Montana. Okay, really take her face, equate that with her name, and try to ingrain that in your mind. Ashley Montana is something you shouldn't forget. Because Napoleon Hill said this. He said, what is a person's favorite word in the English language? And I guess the answer to that question is their own name. Everyone loves to hear the sound of their own voice, right? Because we are human after all. We care about ourselves. So remember people's names. Remember where people are from. That is big. The last name always gives you where people are from. And then also facial features. Like you can see someone and say, okay, this person's from the eastern half of the world or the western half of the world. If this person's from Africa, he's from East Africa versus North Africa versus West Africa. You can tell if someone's from China, if someone's from Japan, just even by last name, by faces. And then also just know a little bit about the world. Like for me, one thing I'm trying this year is like to know a little bit about every country in the world, which is hard, but I bought a map. I've been looking up this thing online. It's called Vox, this YouTube channel that teaches you about like things going on in the world, because you meet millions and millions of people throughout your lifetime, especially in America. In the US, it's so diverse that everyone is from somewhere else. So if you can spark a conversation based on something that is relevant to them and something that is like applicable to their life, that's likability right there. So being likable, put simply, is just caring about people. Getting out of your own mind and looking into the world, seeing what you can do for others. So again, just before I move on, we got names, we got world news, remember faces, and then the last thing is details. One second, guys. How did this happen? Okay, the last thing is details. Remember details about people. If someone tells you that their daughter is 4 and her birthday is in March, if this is someone that you care about, this is a friend of yours, like maybe it's a good idea to remember that birthday. Right? Or if someone shares a story with you or a memory, or someone tells you their nickname, calling them by that nickname is a good place to start, right? It's that way of forming closeness. So if you're someone that like breaks that bridge and you're likable, you really will never lose in life. And it's crazy because as I get older, I'm realizing that most jobs or most opportunities in life are gotten not because of competence. I mean, partly, but it's because of like, who do you know? You know the guy that knows that girl that knows this other person that connected you because they thought that you were perfect for the job. So because life is dealing with people, you have to be likable. Okay, my mic is still picking up. All right, so next thing is someone told me this. It says life is your career. So what does that mean? Most of us watching this video or at home or sitting across from whoever you're next to right now, we all think of like what we want to do when we grow up, right? We all think of, I want to be a doctor, a scientist, a lawyer, a president, an MMA fighter, an NBA player, a pilot, whatever career you want, right? And someone told me that, yeah, these are careers, but the true career, the true purpose of being on earth is to really conquer life, to conquer ourselves, and life is your career. So you always have to look towards like the highest growth, highest inner growth. Some people at home may not believe this, but there is like there's the brain, but there's also someone within. There's like someone that lives within us. There's that inner man and woman, and you want to have that highest, like you could say, spiritual growth. And you have to put yourself in situations that allow that spiritual growth, allow that inner growth within you. And that's what it means when I say life is your career. You have to sometimes move across that city, right? Start that relationship, take that risk, leave your family, things like that, so that you can be put in places in life that challenge you and force you to grow. So you always have to be looking to expand in terms of, understanding yourself better and living better. So life is your career. So next time you have an opportunity to take a new job or do something that really is outside your comfort zone, knowing that life is your career, knowing that you have to expand in your career, you have to constantly put yourself in situations that you really couldn't handle last year. You have to take these opportunities because, again, life is your career. So, in adding to that, you also want to understand the laws that govern this world. So, most people know about gravitation. If I drop this thing right here, it's going to fall at 9.8 meters per second squared. Okay, that's one thing. There's a law of electromagnetism, right? There's a law of relativity. There's all these different laws, physical laws, right? But there's also different laws that govern the world, right? There's a law of cause and effect, right? If you do something, there's a certain effect. So these are like, you could say metaphysical or like spiritual laws that govern this world. And you want to understand these laws so that you're not always you're not always stuck wondering what happened, why you have certain situations and circumstances in your life. When if you understood the laws that govern the world, you know why certain things happen. So learn the laws of the world, learn the laws the metaphysical laws, and also learn the laws of the body, learn like the digestive system, learn how the heart works, learn the things that are poisonous to the body, right? Learn why sleep is important, and really understand that vehicle that you walk around in for the day you're born until the day you die. So yeah, life is your career. Really figure out the deeper things in life. Don't just aspire to be a good doctor and ignore, or a good doctor or a good pilot or a good what else? Any other career, a good construction guy or business guy, and ignore the things that really matter, which is figuring out how life works. The next thing is, man, this thing I learned this morning. I mean, I've always kind of contemplated this, but this is something that really stuck with me. It's the concept of your inner roommate. Now, what does that mean? So to really explain that, I have to explain kind of how this realization came. I was walking around today outside. I was just kind of walking and observing everyone, and I realized that everyone has the same problem. There's only one problem on earth, and it's the problem of the mind, right? Everyone walks into a room, and then immediately the mind starts running. Oh my God, they're judging you. Oh, they're looking at you weird. Oh, you don't fit in here. You're not good enough here. Oh, you're ugly. You're fat. All these different things, right? These different thoughts that flood our mind, right? And what happens is we walk into a room, any situations, we're with people, with our friends, with our family, we get these thoughts, and then we start to identify with them. You identify with the thought that you're insecure or you're not good enough, and then you start to feel that emotion. You start to feel your heart race, your fingers, your palms sweat, right? You start to shrink up, and then you start to act that way, and it's that self-fulfilling prophecy. So everyone has that problem. And I realized that, man, you know, the fact that you can observe your thoughts happening means that you're not those thoughts. You're the person observing them. So there's like some separation. So instead of always identifying with thoughts that are negative, or even sometimes the positive thoughts, because they bring you up to bring you down, you can kind of observe them and have that objective view. So you kind of stay stable within that. So that's understanding the concept of the inner roommate. Your inner roommate is a person that analyzes the world instead of the inner roommate is a person that observes the world instead of analyzing it, right? So you go outside and we hear on the news that, oh my God, it's gonna rain, the windstorms are gonna be gargantuan tomorrow, and we dread that. Now, our mind takes that information and we start to dread it. We start to hate, what's to come. We start to resent tomorrow. We start to resent the rain. But you resenting the rain doesn't stop the fact that it's gonna rain, right? So what you can do in that instead, though, is like understand that, like, yeah, I see that it's gonna rain objectively, and I don't identify with that, don't have any emotion towards it, and just deal with it as it comes. So that's the concept of the inner roommate. I'm still wrestling with that, but it's something that kind of became a little more apparent to me this week. Man, next thing I learned, or next thing I saw in the hospital, was the concept of radical imperfection. So sometimes we want to start something new. Like even this year, there's a lot of, you could say goals that I had, right? Things I want to start again. I want to get back on YouTube and speaking on camera more. I want to advance in certain situations. And you always think that like you can do these things when you become this certain person. When I become a better speaker or I make more money, then I can go out and enjoy life. Or when I become we always think that the end goal, right? We always try to do the thing after we're perfect, after we have the skill set. We always want to be basically that's what I mean. We want to do the thing after we have the skill set. But you can understand that sometimes it's good to just start now, right? It's good to, even if you don't know the perfect plan, it's good to do, and then in the process of doing, you'll figure out a better plan and you'll just adjust, right? Because when you just try to have a perfect plan or have this perfect situation, perfect life scenario before you make that first move, then you suffer from analysis paralysis. Analysis paralysis. Yeah, say that one more time. Analysis paralysis. Meaning what? You're stuck trying to decide. And you end up not even deciding. You end up just sitting there wasting time. So you got to really hold your cojones and go into the world. Really, take imperfect action. So clarity comes from doing the thing, right? So, don't just think about doing things, or don't just think about taking risk or doing what you always desired in your heart. Actually go into it and step into that this year. The last thing, man, I realized is how to split the day. So there's like a Chinese philosopher named Confucius. That's a cool name, Confucius. So Confucius said that, he liked to divide his day into 8-hour blocks. So 3 8-hour blocks. The first 8 hours was sleep, right? Depending on how much sleep you need. Let's just say 8 hours of sleep, 8 hours of work, meaning like work that really furthers humanity. You could be banking, you could be teaching kids, you could be practicing medicine, you could be creating businesses, you could be creating laws, whatever. Work that really expands humanity. Or you could be growing a garden for people. Everything is valuable work. All work, there's honor in work. And the second 8 hours is like that time where you get to explore, you get to harness your skill set, you get to discover who you are, you get to reflect, right? You get to, it's that other 8 hours is what we call leisure time. And he divided his day into those 8-hour blocks. And I was like, man, that's genius, because there's a concept of spending time instead of wasting time. Wasting time is just going to work and being on TikTok, on IG, and just being entertained all day. Yeah, I mean, the time passes, but you didn't really get anything from that time. But spending time is like really being diligent about what you're doing in those 8 hours, really reflecting, really thinking, really like using it to really better yourself. So that was another thing that really hit me, like how to split your day like that, 8-8-8. And I'm actually gonna try that. And I've never done it, but I'm willing to try it. And that's that whole concept of being your own scientist. Like a lot of times we go on the news, we say, okay, this is the best diet. You gotta do keto, you gotta do vegan, you gotta do carnivore, or you gotta like this type of person. You gotta be married at this. You gotta be married at this age. You have to be in a relationship. You should. There's so many shoulds. You should go to college. You shouldn't do X, Y, Z. And when we're listening to society, we can't ever be happy. But you have to be your own inner scientist. Like you try for yourself. Like what is the best diet for you? Everyone likes coffee, right? My whole team likes coffee. I don't really rock coffee. Coffee makes my heart jump. You know what I'm saying? It makes it palpitate. It doesn't do well for me, and I always crash. So I realized that instead of trying to do what everyone else does, like I need to respect my own my body's sentiments and sensitivities. And coffee is something I don't really need to enjoy. And then also, like in terms of being your own scientist, like explore with the food you eat. Like there are certain foods that give you energy and take energy from you. Sometimes if you eat like a high carb diet or very carb rich foods, like you can have that crash. You can be lethargic and tired, right? So see if carbs in the morning work for you, if carbs at night work for you, if no carbs work for you. And then also just like, we always have a diet about what we put in our body, right? We have a diet like in terms of not eating red meat for some people, or not eating fish or shellfish or whatever, or pork. But we don't diet the people that are around us. You have to diet the people that come around you, because you become the average of the people you spend the most time with. You have to diet the food you listen to, the music you listen to. You can't listen to food. The music you listen to, right? Because certain music takes energy. You listen to some Adele or Drake, you're gonna feel a little somnolent. If you gotta give a speech, you listen to Drake before, you're gonna put everyone to sleep or make them cry during that speech. But if you listen to some Future, something that really makes you jump, lifts the shoulders up, then you're actually you're gonna take that energy into the speech. So, see what gives you energy, see what takes away energy, and that's all a part of being that inner scientist. And man, woo! The last thing I've said this like 3 times, and I always say it's the last thing, but it's not the last thing. But something else I realized is, man, allow life to unfold. What does that mean? So every year we have 4 seasons, right? And the seasons come and they go, and we understand that, in every season, different things are gonna happen. So the same way that we have outer seasons, right? We also have inner seasons. If you see life as your teacher, you have inner seasons, meaning there's times where you're gonna go through like heartbreak. There's times where you're gonna go through failure. There's times where you're gonna go through grief and loss. There's times where you're gonna go through extreme excitement. And life is just about seasons, right? So I'm someone that allows life to teach me. I learn from every experience, so I allow life to unfold. I don't try to control everything. I don't try to create an environment where I'm never gonna experience pain. At least I'm trying not to anymore, right? You have to create an environment that's gonna allow you to really deal with life and deal with the things that are supposed to really help you level up on this planet. Man, there's something else I want to tell you guys. So this is interesting. Me and this girl were talking in the hospital. We're talking about relationships and stuff like that. These are always juicy topics. And I was like, man, what is the most attractive trait for you in a person? And what she said blew my mind. She said, she said the most attractive thing she sees in a guy is someone that would be a good father. So naturally, I'm like, what does that mean, right? Because that's just too broad. She says someone that treats others well, someone that treats people that don't always do the right thing or know what to do well, someone that's patient, someone that's a good teacher. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. Because usually we think of physicality, we think of someone that super buff, big neck, strong, whatever, right? Super wealthy. But it's the inner qualities are actually more radiant than the outer qualities. And man, that inner light is brighter, is more valuable than the finest diamonds. You can have an AP watch, a Patek, everything, but if you don't have that inner life, that thumos, that spirit in your body, no one's gonna really appreciate you. So personality traits, character traits are what people realize and what really stick, So man, the most attractive quality is someone that is a good father, which is crazy. That just hit me so much. And man, just as this video comes to an end, because I know it's like 20 minutes, I actually don't plan on editing this video this year. I'm gonna just try to go off the cup, natural, organic, right? And whoever likes it likes it. The last thing I want to say is keep your heart open. That's something I realized. So what does that mean? You know how you go through a situation in life and like, let's say you got some haters at the job site or whatever, or there's like a situation of people that really don't like you, or you're going through something, you're going through a heartbreak. And we can kind of like close up, we kind of like go into ourselves, we kind of like ignore people, and we kind of we kind of like resist, right? We're not as open to people when we're going through hard life situations. We're kind of short with people, and that's like a human trait, but we got to kind of like transcend that. And keeping an open heart means that even when these things happen to yourself, like allow yourself to feel it and expand. So an example I'll say is like, have you ever went through a breakup and your significant other dumped you or something, right? And you were sad for like 2 weeks in your room, just slumped, right? Covering your face, just covered up. And then let's say like one night your significant other just texted you, and immediately you just got this burst of energy. You take a shower, you wash yourself real quick, you put on your fragrance, you put on your wristwatch, you jump out the house, you drive over, right? Where did that energy come from? It was always there. That's the thing. That energy was always there. It's just you close up, you kind of hid it within you. So my thing is like, keep an open heart. Always allow that energy to expand. Allow that energy to fill the room, and live from that energy source. So guys, that was realizations from the first week of 2024 in the hospital. Man, just that one little thing I've been trying to do this year, instead of just being about myself, really looking at the world, looking at what's going on, really observing. So the world is your teacher. I hope you have a good year. I'll be back here next week, hopefully with a different outfit, but with the same energy. All right, guys, peace.